So yesterday we talked about what you thought might have been the best solutions to fixing the Great Depression. You got a chance to share your ideas and kind of share your ideas based on what your character might have thought. Today or tonight, we're going to just really briefly talk about some of the programs that President Franklin D. Roosevelt actually did come up with to try to fix the Great Depression. And some of them are actually very similar to the ideas that you came up with. So, the first thing that he did to help fix the broken economy, to break that cycle we talked about yesterday, was the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC. Very few people ever called it the Civilian Conservation Corps. It was called the Cs or the Triple Cs. It was a work relief program, which means that it was meant to give people jobs. And in your notes in a little bit, you're going to write down who and what. So the who was young, unmarried men ages 17 through 28. Most of them were younger than that. Most of them were 17 or 18 through like 23. You couldn't be married, and you had to come from families who were on relief, which means your family was struggling during the Depression and taking some kind of money from the government, getting some kind of government aid. And if you had those two qualifications, unmarried and your family was taking relief from the government in some way, then you would qualify to work for the Civilian Conservation Corps. It was only men, and they worked in outdoor projects. Lots of them here in Utah. A lot of them like up the canyons. If you've ever seen the big bales of rocks wrapped up in wire to hold like river banks together, or if you've ever seen it snow up on the mountains in Provo, you can see like very clear lines. The CCC actually cut those terraces into the mountain. This was the most popular of the New Deal programs, and again, because it was outdoors, it was meant to conserve a lot of the nation's natural resources. And the kicker was you got $30 a month, which was a lot of money during the Depression. We had to send 25 of that paycheck home because you had to help your family who were taking money or on relief from the government. So that's a CCC. Remember, big things to remember: who, young, unmarried men, ages 17 through 28, and then with the family taking some kind of money from the government. Okay, WPA was the Works Progress Administration. It was another one that was meant to give people jobs instead of giving them money. And they would work on public projects like bridges, parks, dams, roads, city halls. Mostly they employed unskilled laborers, but they employed a lot of artists and architects and musicians because these skilled laborers were often out of work because people didn't need their products at the time. And so the WPA provided them a job. Meant to be a way to give individuals money and give them work experience. The important thing to remember about the WPA is that it was actually the government doing the hiring. They got jobs from the government to do projects. The PWA is really similar. Just take some of the words and mix it around. It's the Public Works Administration. Now, the big difference here is that they didn't actually hire anyone. The PWA would hire local construction companies, give the contract to them, and then those companies hired employees locally. These would do really big projects, lots of roads, dams, really big buildings. And so the who under this one is local construction workers and companies. You wouldn't get hired by the government, but you'd get a job from a construction company, and that construction company would work a project that the government was paying them to do. The last one is the Farm Security Administration, the FSA. Originally, it was resettlement, where it was trying to get people out of those rural areas, but they kind of settled into offering small loans to farmers so that they could purchase more land or equipment. And so the who were small individual farmers who were struggling. Remember, farmers were hit some of the hardest during the Great Depression, and so a lot of families would apply for a loan to get things they need in order to keep their farm going, and then they wouldn't have to pay it back with interest for a long time because the government wanted to kind of help them get on their feet. So that's the FSA. So now you're going to be working on your projects. There'll be a few more videos to watch specifically about which program you think your character would qualify for. So you may want to review these slides and know exactly what it is that your character could use, and you get to choose which one they're going to use.